Welcome, dear friend, to Dreamy Detections, your quiet sanctuary for rest. Thank you for choosing to spend your peaceful time here with us. This story was made with great care, hoping to help you find gentle contentment and drift easily into a deep and restorative sleep. Should you find comfort in our tale, a small like, a subscription, or a kind comment would fill our hearts with warmth. Tonight, we will be visiting the Havenlight Inn, a place where time itself moves with a gentle and thoughtful cadence. Prepare to be enchanted by a world steeped in profound calm, where the air is filled with the scent of beeswax and old wood, and a curious old clock marks the moments with a special kind of warmth. Allow this peaceful escape to offer you a true respite, a chance to rediscover the stillness within, and a path to the most wonderful dreams. Chapter 1. The Gentle Chime of Welcome. The journey had been a long and winding one, leading through misty valleys and alongside sleepy, meandering streams, until at last the Havenlight Inn appeared through the soft twilight. It was a rambling building of honey-colored wood, with a roof that seemed to have settled comfortably over the centuries, like a soft, moss-covered cap. Stepping across its threshold was like stepping into a warm, waiting embrace. The world outside, with its hurry and its noise, simply faded away, replaced by a profound and immediate quiet. The air inside held a beautiful, layered scent, a tapestry of aromas woven together through years of peaceful existence. There was the clean, sweet fragrance of beeswax used to polish the dark wooden beams that crisscrossed the low ceiling. Beneath that was the comforting, earthy smell of a log fire, burning with a steady, gentle heart in the grand stone hearth. And woven through it all was a faint, herbal whisper of dried lavender and chamomile, a scent that promised rest and tranquility. The very air seemed to hold the inn's gentle character. Arthur felt the day's long travels begin to unspool from his shoulders. His gaze drifted around the common room, a space filled with deep velvety armchairs and small, sturdy tables, each bearing a softly glowing lamp that cast pools of warm amber light upon the worn wooden floor. It was a room that invited stillness, a place where one could simply sit and be. He found his way to a particularly inviting armchair near the fire, its fabric worn smooth with time, and sank into its deep cushions with a soft sigh of contentment. The warmth from the hearth seeped into his bones, a gentle, pervasive heat that felt like the purest form of comfort. It was from this place of perfect repose that his eyes found the clock. It stood tall and serene in a quiet corner of the room, a magnificent old grandfather clock crafted from a dark, rich wood that seemed to drink in the firelight. Its surface was polished to a gentle sheen, reflecting the flickering flames like a still, dark pond. Its presence was not imposing. It felt more like a quiet, steadfast guardian of the inn's peaceful atmosphere. Arthur watched the slow, hypnotic swing of its brass pendulum, a steady, rhythmic pulse that seemed to beat in time with the slow, calm rhythm of his own breathing. He let his gaze travel upward to the clock's face, and a gentle curiosity stirred within him. The face was a beautiful thing, made of pale, creamy porcelain with elegant, hand-painted numerals. It was a work of patient artistry. He noticed then its most peculiar feature. There were two distinct sets of hands sweeping across its surface. One set was of polished silver, broad and clear, marking the hour and the minute with a familiar, steady grace. The other set was finer, more delicate, crafted from a warm, shining gold, and they remained perfectly, beautifully still. Arthur watched for a long while, listening to the gentle crackle of the fire and the soft, almost inaudible hum that emanated from the old building's timbers. He felt a sensation of gentle weight settling upon him, the comforting presence of the deep chair and a soft woolen blanket that had been draped over its arm. His breath was effortless, flowing in and out in a slow, peaceful cadence. The world had been simplified to this single, warm room and the beautiful, curious clock in the corner. As the silver hands aligned to mark the hour, the clock did not strike with a loud or startling clang. It released a sound that was pure and melodic, a soft two-part chime that filled the room like a gentle sigh. The sound seemed to hang in the air for a moment, a perfect, clear note of welcome that resonated with the quiet contentment already settling deep within his heart. It was a sound that did not mark the passage of time, but affirmed the profound peace of the present moment. Arthur closed his eyes, listening to the inn's quiet symphony, the gentle hum of the fire, the slow tick-tock of the pendulum, the memory of the chime. He felt a deep sense of having arrived, of finding a place where he could simply be. The golden hands on the clock face remained still, holding their silent, graceful positions, and their stillness felt like a promise of a different kind of time, a different kind of story, waiting to unfold in its own gentle way. He felt the last vestiges of tension release from his body. The armchair held him completely, a safe and gentle cradle. The warmth of the fire was a constant, soothing presence. The mystery of the two-faced clock was not a puzzle, to be solved with any urgency, but a delightful wonder to be savored, a gentle question mark hanging in the warm, peaceful air of the Havenlight Inn. And for now, that was more than enough. Chapter 2. Hands of Gold and Hands of Silver. The next morning, Arthur awoke to the soft, pearlescent light of dawn filtering through the leaded glass of his window. The world outside was hushed, draped in a gentle mist that softened the edges of the trees and hills, making the valley look like a watercolor painting. He dressed slowly with a mindful deliberation he had not felt in a long time, and made his way down to the common room, which was already filled with the delicious, comforting aroma of freshly baked oat bread and brewing tea. He found a cozy reading nook tucked away in a corner, where a wide window looked out onto a small, walled garden. Dewdrops clung like tiny jewels to the leaves of the plants, and a single brave robin was singing its morning song. Arthur settled into a comfortable chair with a warm ceramic mug cupped in his hands. It was one of the inn's special mugs, and as the hot tea filled it, faint patterns of sleeping foxes and swirling leaves began to appear on its surface, a small, delightful piece of the inn's gentle magic. From his quiet vantage point, he watched the unhurried life of the inn begin to unfold. The silver hands of the grand clock continued their steady, reliable journey around the porcelain face, marking the passing moments of the morning. Beatrice, the innkeeper, moved through the room with a serene grace, her smile as warm as the fire she was tending. She approached a table where a young couple sat, placing a small plate with a golden, crumbly scone between them, a simple, unsolicited gesture of warmth. As she did, Arthur's gaze drifted to the clock. He saw it then, a tiny, almost imperceptible movement. The delicate golden hands, which had been still all this time, twitched forward by the smallest of fractions. The movement was so slight, so graceful, that he wondered if he had imagined it. It was accompanied by the faintest, warmest hum, a sound so low it was felt more than it was heard, like the purr of a contented cat. A gentle wonder blossomed within him, as soft and quiet as the morning light. He spent the rest of his morning in this state of serene observation. He read a few pages of his book, sipped his warm tea, and let his gaze wander. Later, he saw an elderly guest struggling to lift a heavy travel bag. Before anyone could offer, a younger traveler quietly rose from his chair, lifted the bag with a gentle smile, and set it by the door. Arthur looked at the clock, and there it was again. The golden hands shifted forward with another deliberate, graceful tick, marking this small, good deed. The pattern began to reveal itself not as a solution to a puzzle, but as a beautiful, emerging truth. The silver hands measured the steady, impartial march of seconds and minutes. The golden hands, however, moved to a different rhythm entirely. They were the chroniclers of something else, something intangible and warm that filled the very air of the inn. They were measuring the quiet moments of connection, the small kindnesses that flowed so naturally between the people who found sanctuary here. He felt a profound sense of peace in this discovery. It was a secret told not in whispers, but in the silent, graceful movements of golden hands. There was no need to ask, no need to investigate. The truth of the clock was revealing itself through simple, mindful attention. He felt himself sinking deeper into the inn's gentle embrace, his own rhythm slowing to match the peaceful cadence of the world around him. His breath came easily, his thoughts were calm and unhurried. He watched Beatrice place a small vase of wildflowers on the mantelpiece, just for the simple beauty of it. The golden hands moved. He saw a guest leave a half-finished book on a table with a note tucked inside for the next reader. The golden hands moved again. Each movement was a quiet affirmation of the inn's true nature. It was a place that valued not the time that passed, but the warmth that was shared within that time. Arthur smiled to himself, a soft, contented smile, feeling the gentle weight of his warm mug in his hands, perfectly at home in this place where kindness was its own beautiful form of timekeeping. Chapter 3. The Quiet Cadence of Kindness. The afternoon sun cast long, soft shafts of light through the common room windows, illuminating the dancing dust motes and lending a golden glow to the polished wood. The gentle energy of the morning had settled into a deeper, more tranquil stillness. Arthur found himself sharing a small table near the hearth with Beatrice, a pot of chamomile tea steaming fragrantly between them. The soft clink of porcelain and the murmur of quiet conversation from other guests formed a soothing backdrop to their peaceful moment. Arthur felt a comfortable ease in Beatrice's presence. Her serene demeanor made conversation feel natural and unforced. He looked toward the magnificent clock, its golden hands now noticeably further along their journey than they had been at dawn. With a gentle voice, he shared his quiet observation, mentioning the beauty of the clock and his mild curiosity about its 2 sets of hands. He framed his words not as a question seeking an answer, but as a shared appreciation of a wonderful thing. Beatrice's smile was one of deep, genuine warmth, reaching her eyes and making them sparkle in the firelight. She followed his gaze to the clock, her expression one of fond familiarity, as if looking at a beloved old friend. She explained that her grandfather, a watchmaker by trade, but a poet at heart, had built the clock for the inn when it first opened. He believed that a true sanctuary was measured by the goodness that filled it, and he wanted to create a timepiece that could reflect that beautiful idea. She spoke in a soft, melodic tone, her story unfolding as gently as the steam rising from their teacups. The silver hands, she explained, were for the world outside, for appointments and schedules. The golden hands, however, were for the world inside the inn. They were connected to a delicate hidden mechanism of her grandfather's own invention, one that was attuned to the quiet energies of generosity and warmth. It was a clock, she said with a gentle laugh, that ran on kindness. A few other guests sitting nearby had overheard their soft conversation, and they nodded with quiet, knowing smiles. An elderly woman who was knitting by the fire added that she had been coming to the Havenlight Inn for 20 years, and that watching the golden hands of the clock was one of her greatest comforts. It reminded her, she said, that the best parts of life are often the small, quiet moments that pass between people. The shared understanding in the room was a palpable thing, a warm, invisible thread connecting everyone present. Arthur felt a deep sense of belonging wash over him. The gentle puzzle of the clock was now a shared wonder, a piece of the inn's heart that he had been invited to understand. The resolution was so simple, so pure, and so perfectly in keeping with the profound peace of the place. It confirmed everything he had felt since the moment he arrived. The warmth of the inn was not just in the fire or the soft blankets. It was a tangible thing, measured and marked by the patient, golden hands of the old clock. He felt the comfortable weight of the armchair supporting him, a gentle grounding force. His body felt completely at ease, all traces of tension having long since dissolved into the tranquil atmosphere. He lifted his warm teacup, the ceramic radiating a soothing heat into his palms. The faint scent of chamomile filled his senses, a calming, floral perfume. The clock was a beautiful piece of gentle lore, a story that was lived and retold with every small, good deed performed under the inn's roof. The knowledge settled within him, not with a jolt of excitement, but with a soft, deep contentment, like a stone settling onto the bottom of a still, clear pond. He looked at Beatrice, at the other guests, at the firelight dancing on the walls, and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He was a part of this quiet cadence of kindness now, a witness to its beautiful, gentle rhythm. The clock's purpose was revealed, and in its revelation, the peace of the Havenlight Inn became deeper and more meaningful than ever before. Chapter 4: A Time for Rest. Evening descended upon the valley, draping the world in shades of deep indigo and soft violet. Inside the Havenlight Inn, the lamps were lit, casting a warm, gentle glow that made the common room feel even more like a sheltered, cozy haven. The fire in the hearth burned brightly, its flames dancing and swaying in a silent, mesmerizing rhythm. Arthur sat once more in his favorite armchair, a soft woolen blanket draped over his lap, feeling a sense of complete and utter peace. His gentle curiosity about the old clock had been satisfied, replaced now by a deep and quiet appreciation. He watched its face, no longer searching for movement or meaning, but simply enjoying its presence. The silver hands continued their steady march, measuring the day's final hours, while the golden hands rested in their new position, a testament to the warmth the day had held. He understood its dual nature completely. The clock was both a keeper of time and a keeper of heart, and the two moved in perfect, gentle harmony. The puzzle had been a delightful discovery, a soft revelation that confirmed the inn's deeply tranquil nature. There had been no complex riddle to solve, no urgent mystery to unravel. There was only the gentle unfolding of a beautiful purpose, a purpose that invited observation and fostered a sense of shared contentment. The resolution was not an end, but a deepening, a settling into the inn's core truth. He felt fully restored, the peace of the place having seeped into him, becoming a part of his own inner quiet. Beatrice moved softly through the room, bidding her guests a good night with a warm, genuine smile for each one. The quiet murmurs of conversation slowly faded, replaced by the gentle sounds of the inn settling down for the night. The crackle of the fire, the whisper of the wind outside the thick glass windows, and the steady, rhythmic heartbeat of the clock's pendulum. It was a perfect lullaby, a symphony of serenity that invited the deepest kind of rest. Arthur felt his eyelids grow heavy. The warmth of the fire and the comforting weight of the blanket created a cocoon of perfect tranquility. His breath was slow and even, matching the pendulum's gentle sway. He looked at the clock one last time, its polished wood and glowing face, a steadfast beacon of calm in the softly lit room. The golden hands seemed to shine with a special warmth, holding the memory of all the day's small, kind moments. He knew that this feeling of peace would not leave him when he departed the inn. The gentle rhythm of the kindness clock was something he could carry with him, a reminder to notice the small, good things, to appreciate the quiet cadence of a life lived with warmth. The Havenlight Inn had offered him more than just a bed for the night. It had offered him a new way of seeing, a new way of measuring the value of a day. As the old clock began to chime the late hour, its soft melodic notes filled the quiet space. The sound was like a final, gentle blessing, a soft exhalation that seemed to carry all the contentment of the day. Arthur felt himself drifting, floating on the edge of a peaceful, dream-filled sleep. The image of the clock's face, with its hands of silver and gold, remained in his mind's eye, a perfect symbol of the balance he had found here. A balance between the time that passes and the love that remains. He sank into the soft cushions, letting the inn's profound quietude carry him away into a deep and truly restorative slumber.